And do you know what? That's kind of what this is about. Hi everyone. Okay, this is another wow moment from from Nikon. Okay, so Nikon has finally come out with what I mean finally. It has amazingly come out with an update to its flagship camera, the Nikon D4, and as expected, it came out with the Nikon D4s. And it's pretty much the same shape, it's the same sensor resolution and all that kind of stuff. But it's better in a bunch of different ways from its focusing. Its ISO now goes up to 400,000 ISO. But the thing is, that is not native. In other words, that's a bit like if you take a photo in a dark location and you've used the max ISO, you take it into Lightroom, and in Lightroom you then increase the exposure afterwards. That's what the H1, 2, 3 and now 4 is like. So imagine taking your noisiest image that you've got, your highest ISO image that you've got in your camera, and then taking it to Lightroom and putting the Lightroom exposure compensation to the max. That's what it is. So that's just going to be total gash. You're not going to use that. It's gone up to 11 frames a second. It's got X Speed 4, which nobody really knows. It just means it does stuff a little bit faster or better. The good thing is that its video has finally been improved, so it's doing 1080 at 60 frames a second. And it's got some auto things which are a bit handy. But my whole point in this is you'll see a lot of the YouTube bloggers and photographers going, oh my god, this new camera is absolutely amazing, wow, 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 oh, it's got this, it's got that, it does this, it's better here, it's better there. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but at the same time, it's like, is anybody really going to use it like to its max? It's a bit like it's a bit like I'm trying to think of an example. Imagine somebody getting a supercomputer. No, I'm not meaning like a Mac, a 27-inch Mac. I'm meaning like one of those supercomputers which giant corporations would use for mapping the solar system or something like that, the galaxy. And then somebody going along and say, I really want to play a great game of Angry Birds on it. Yeah, can we do that? It's so advanced, and yet it's kind of slow in something. So only now recently getting 60 frames a second at 1080p. My GoPro Hero 3 has had that for a while now. Okay, but obviously not the same kind of stuff like that. But my general advice is don't really kind of pay attention to it that much. It's an amazing, it's wow, but I don't think you're going to see anybody going, well, I got this image only because I was using the Nikon D4s. No other camera could have got this. I also highly don't believe or expect that getting this camera above and beyond the Nikon D4, for example, would in any way increase productivity, efficiency, or image quality at all. But what I would say is that for the average user, so when I say the average user, I don't mean the person that's got £6,000 to spend on a camera body alone. The average user, let's say we're talking up to like the Nikon D600 kind of range. What's interesting is the functions and the advancements which have been made in this filtering down to the lower cameras. But at the moment, they'll just seem like little tweaks kind of going on. Slightly better battery life, slightly faster focusing, slightly faster image processing, slightly more frames a second. There's nothing really kind of blowing anything away. And you know, when I say slightly higher ISO, it's a fake ISO. It's not really going on anything there. So again, some people would say, oh yeah, I'm totally upgrading, going to this. Oh, this is totally going to make my photography even better. I would say this is even beyond what anybody would need. I can't think of a situation where the Nikon D4s is the camera of choice. And one of the images here, down here, that is a guy doing some swimming. Now, hold on 1 second. Okay, I might have been wrong, but I was sure there was something in, if you get the Nikon Pro magazine, which comes out every so often. I'm going back to an old one. This is when it back at the Nikon D3X, like high-speed tennis photography, and then there's this other one which was the Nikon Pro, where it was the kind of blue cover, and you got the swimmers there. I'm sure it was the same situation. But anyway, that one goes back to, what year was that? 2008. I'm sure that is a photo which has been done in the past, and certainly not even with the Nikon D4. I think that was the Nikon D3s. So in other words, it's like so if they're using photos which they've been using for the last 4 years, no, that'd be 6 years. I was like, come on, guys, it's like the equivalent of going from a supercar to a hypercar for the average person that drives to the shops. It's not really going to happen. And even a person who is like, their job is to get the shopping to other people as fast as possible, it's not really going to enhance it. It's just giving more options, more keys, more buttons to press in the car, rather than actually get anywhere quicker. So I'll be interested to see what other YouTubers are saying about this, but my general opinion is, let's not all go, oh my god, Nikon's the best, it's amazing, look at what it's doing, because at the same time, I don't know of anybody that's really got to the point with the Nikon D4 at the moment and said, oh, I've got to its limits. I know some people have complained about certain things, and do you know what, that's kind of what this is about. It's the fact that I don't know anybody, or I haven't heard of anybody, complaining that they got to the limits of what the camera was able to produce, but only complain about issues with the camera in the past. So in other words, this is a new camera not to be better, but just to be less broken than the previous generation. That, I don't think, is a great thing. Just my thoughts. Let you know. Cheers. Bye-bye.